Hey, welcome back to BCB Live. Drive safe, Dave. This morning we talked a little bit about Afghanistan and what's going on over there. And I talked about our special guest we're going to have today. And it's really getting that time to introduce.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about who you've got. I'm pretty excited about who you know. And I'm going to be a moment of impressed that you actually know and you've got your pulse on the finger of actually somebody to talk to. But let's hear who it is and what you got going on.
Hey, with that, we're going to bring in Jorge Bonilla. Jorge Bonilla is with the Duality Alliance company, president and co-founder. Sergeant Major, I'm going to call you Jorge Bonilla. Hey, great for you to be with us today at BCB Live. We talked about you today, and we brought up your company today with what's going on right over in Afghanistan right now. I want to talk to you a minute about that. But first, Jorge, hey, tell us a little bit about your business right now.
Sure, Rick. Rick and Dave, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be here, for you guys to have me. I hope that I can pass on some knowledge to your readers, to your viewers, and of course to you all as well, and regarding safety and security. The company we provide, we provide safety, we provide security, we provide intelligence, we provide information, we provide power, we provide knowledge. All that information is important for companies to thrive worldwide. Obviously, our focus, because of my background and my extensive work in Latin America, we have focused ourselves in Latin America because our network is built there, a large network. For many years, and so we immediately focus our efforts with the governments, the police, the law enforcement, the military, the special operations. We just feel that for many years, our counterparts in Latin America, they yearn to have some of that advanced training that we get over here in the States through our military career and our civilian career, what have you, with the government. And so we thought, well, it's what better way to give back to our community, to our Latino community, and to provide them with that extensive advanced training that they yearn. And that's where we are. That's what we're doing right now, and hopefully in the future we can continue doing these. Extensive training and familiarization with what security is, specifically operational security, everything that encompasses security and of the nation specifically.
Gotcha.
Also with the corporate world as well.
Do you, and I have a quick question in regards to that. Do you find your talent and your regard, most of your talent, do you pull from the prior military service? Is that where you gather most of your expertise, or most of the people that you utilize to retrain out there in these Latino countries? Do you find your source best from the military where they have gotten their training?
Yeah, certainly. The majority of the people that work with us are former military and civilian intelligence officers who have done work in Latin America specifically, because we need Spanish speakers. We also recruit within. We also recruit individuals who have worked with us before, who have advanced knowledge, perhaps not the training, but advanced knowledge in what security is and intelligence is. And so we recruit within. Colombia specifically is a perfect example of the country where we work with the most, and Mexico, of course. They receive a lot of the training that we have been.
Hey, Jorge, if you can, there you go.
Well advanced.
Hey, Jorge, I have a question for you. You talk about the extensive training, and I'm just going to get to it. Hey, what is that training? You're obviously not showing them how to use a computer, how to type. Can you give us any background on what the training is? Is it guerrilla warfare? What are you doing down there?
The majority of the training has to do with how to handle sources, counterintelligence, how to how to conduct investigations or how to mitigate security issues. And through that, when you handle sources, you're doing offensive intelligence operations. When you're handling sources, you're obtaining information, real-time information or direct information from individuals with direct knowledge of the information that you're specifically looking for. Mainly, we're going after requirements. Whatever requirements we have, we try to find that information, and it's very hard to pinpoint a specific individual that can get you that information. So sometimes it's kind of like looking for a needle in a haystack, but the majority of the time, because we're intelligence officers, we're like magnets. I've always said this, as intelligence officers, it seems like we're always at the right place at the right time, and we always find the right person who provides that information. So we're doing, how do you call it, so the advanced training is basically has to do with how to obfuscate yourself, how to live in plain sight, or how to hide in plain sight, I should say. Hiding in plain sight is basically, you know that you have something that you don't want people to know, but you want to continue doing your thing normally as if you're just an individual. That's basically when you're overseas conducting intelligence operations. They know who you are. They know they see you. They know you're there, and you have a story to tell. So this is part of the training that we provide as well. The story, the how to obfuscate yourself,
wow.
How to continue conducting your intelligence operations in a manner which is not highlighting yourself to individuals so that they can ask questions. So you travel. When we travel from the United States overseas, and we go through customs and immigrations and stuff like that, you want to be able to do all that stuff, all that without alerting them for further questions.
So I don't know if you're ever looking for somebody in Central Texas, in Mansfield, Texas, where we're located at. But this guy right here, let me tell you something. He hides in the middle of everybody. He's always saying he's busy. He's not doing anything. I'm telling you right now, he'll fool anybody.
And I'm gathering information all the time, and I'm not sharing it with anybody. So I don't know if that's productive or counterproductive, but I feel like I'm right on that same level with you. I hide in plain sight all the time, and I think I've understood, if you just walk around with a clipboard and walk really quickly, they think you're busy. They think you've got a mission to do. And in all joking aside, your missions that you do in these countries and that you head out, are these mostly for businesses, and or are they for governments? Are they for just police organizations, government organizations, militaries? Are you in there doing something what I would call retraining and doing that for their governments to help them facilitate that kind of information gathering and that kind of intelligence work? You know, when you say security, that's sure a broad term, right? And when you say security for somebody, that's genuinely a big, broad term that encompasses everything from making sure personal bodyguard all the way out to just gathering information, right? I mean, that's a big number. That's a big, broad statement when you say you do security for a country, right, or for a government. So some of these things is fascinating. You know, me and Rick were laughing or looking when you were saying about some of this stuff. It genuinely sounds like spy work, right? Doesn't it just sounds like, I don't want to say, I mean, it just sounds like spy work, and it's fascinating and interesting. What has compelled you to do this? I mean, there has to have been a point, not just, but I know you're giving back into the communities, but there has to be something that gets to you that wants you to go out there and improve not only our, what you call bipartisanship out there, but also helping them do well what we do.
Hey, Jorge, before you go you're going to learn something here. We'll ask you a question, and in this question, sometimes we'll answer it for you. Sometimes this question will be long and broad. So two things he's asking for. Number one, hey, you know, who are your customers? Is it the government? Is it corporations? Is it police? What is that? And then number two, how did you get into that side?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so excellent questions, and I'm glad you asked them. The main thing is our customers is everyone. everyone who requires security. Obviously, we focus our efforts in what we know best: the military, the law enforcement, and everybody in the military, specifically the military intelligence or the military organizations, civilian organizations, doesn't matter. But then we saw that the corporate world realm also required our type of expertise and advice. So we started talking to different security agencies or mining corporations, transportation corporations, basically in the marine and the maritime area more so. And so we saw that we were thriving there as well, and they required what we call a national security spectrum, right? And it's the main thing is to provide a safety net or the need to be secure, the need to be or the sense, I should say, of being secure within their realm, whatever it is that they're doing, how they're doing it, and to be able to materialize the different spectrum within their elements of security. That's the main thing. And so the answer is yes, and the answer is to everybody. And the main reason why I got into intelligence, it's kind of twofold. It's my brother was an intelligence, not officer, but he was in military intelligence before. And he kind of got me into the whole intelligence thing, but also my really good friend of mine, Cesar Rios, also from Panama, who was a counterintelligence agent, and he kind of pushed me into that realm because there was more of a need. Immediately, I felt that I understood the methodologies and the reasons for why there is intelligence and the intelligence gathering. So I became or an interrogator. I went the interrogator first with military intelligence terms. It's offensive operations. But as an interrogator, you're also a human intelligence operator.
So growing up in Panama and being part of the JROTC program, honestly, did you ever see yourself going that direction in high school, or did it just evolve some point in your life?
Well, that's a very good question too, because the military was never in my mind until the career was over. When I broke my wrist and I couldn't play baseball anymore, I was already married with a child. I had to make a decision. And the military at that point was the easiest thing to do, to find a job and kind of get my footing underneath me and then to see what I wanted to do later. That was the initial thought, is take care of my family, take care of myself, go to college in the meantime, get some knowledge, and then do something else. Almost 30 years later, I was there for the long run. But it's mainly because I think the main reason why I stayed in the military for so long, or in the government business for so long, was because of the intelligence piece. The intelligence piece is what gave me a purpose. Doing intelligence, the offensive part of intelligence, gave me a sense of purpose, and it's just I understood, as I said before, the need for gathering intelligence, and I just couldn't imagine myself doing anything different until now, of course.
Gotcha. So I do have a question, because a lot of companies we see in the state side right now, we are going to Colombia, and we're going to Colombia for a great group of folks that we're hiring to do back office. In specific in transportation, we are seeing a lot of that, from billing to track and trace. Many positions we're filling over there in Colombia, aside from COVID being in place right now that prevents us from traveling right now. But if in fact we were to go say, you know what, I want to go watch those or talk to those people that are working for us in Colombia. I want to go there and grow our business in that back office business, Colombia. what would companies like ourselves or in this trucking or transportation era, what do we need to just be aware of before we just pack our bags and head out there for a week?
And get a visa.
Yeah. Aside from that, I think that's a very good question, because you want to be able to have some type of knowledge before you go into a country that point was very hot. It was one of the most dangerous places in the world. Was Colombia at one point, obviously because of the narco trafficking wars and all that stuff. It didn't necessarily have to do anything with individuals who go down there and travel, but and the FARC, of course, the guerrillas. But today, Colombia has progressed so much in the security spectrum. They're police officers, they're military, they're special forces. They have specialized units that are working 24/7 to maintain a security blanket over their entire country. It's still a little dangerous, I would say, depending upon where you go. There's certain places that you want to stay away from, or not the cities itself, but places within the cities that you want to stay away from. It's like everywhere else you go in the world, you just want to stay away from the bad elements. But Colombia today is more secure than it was 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago, because it continues to progress. They continue to want to do better every year, every day, and they have all gathered a sense of purpose for their country, and which I believe it's working. And then thanks to the United States and the training that we have provided and our presence there for so many years, that has helped a lot.
Awesome. Hey, don't go anywhere, Jorge. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little Afghanistan. Be ready for that, because this guy here, he'll test you. He'll see if you know what you're talking about. Hey, before that, we got a quick commercial break on Drive Safe Dave and maintenance.
Hello? Drive Safe Dave. No, I'm working on it. I'm on the other line with the vendor right now. Yeah, I should know something shortly. Absolutely. No, I'll tell you what, I'll call you right back when I get off the phone with them. Perfect. Jeez. Yes. Oh, I'm sure it's a real problem. No. I'll tell you what. Let me call the shop and I'll get right on this. And if you'll give me just a few minutes, I'll get right back to you. I'll call you right back. Okay? Absolutely. All right. Be safe out there. They get some every time.
All right. Hey, so Drive Safe Dave, I know that you've doubted my ability, but I'm telling you, you know that, and I tell you how smart I am all the time. Just ask me how smart I am, and you know what? And smart people tend to hang out with smart people. I'm hanging out with intelligent guys here, Drive Safe Dave. I got the inside scoop on a lot of things.
I get it. And you know what? You've picked a winner here this time. I'm just saying you have picked a winner. However, I don't know that you're necessarily hanging out with Jorge per se. But you know what? We still got a lot to ask and a lot of questions to go.
All right. Hey, Jorge Bonilla, he's going to join us back here. Hey, Jorge, great information right now, but I'm going to tell you something. You have right here, his dad, Sergeant Major, is going to ask you some deep questions, Jorge, so you better get your best. He's going to act like a spy, and he's going to get you to bust. Interrogate him, Drive Safe.
No, that's not it. First of all, wow, it's nice to talk to you. My dad also was a Command Sergeant Major. If there's any way you could tell us quickly, like what theaters you worked in or what units that you worked with, both inside and outside the country in your military career.
Yeah, absolutely. The main theater of my operations was always Latin America. I mean, I would say 85 to 90% of the time I was in Latin America for obvious reasons. I was born and raised in Panama, particularly in the Canal Zone area. So I had the best of both worlds. I was the best of both worlds with, being born both Panamanian and a U.S. citizen. Family in Panama, obviously the Spanish and the English, perfect. And so I was used in that aspect in Latin America for many reasons. I also did a lot of operations in Europe. I would say that's second to Latin America, and then thirdly would be in the Middle East. Those three areas of operations were my the most where I worked the most, but obviously Latin America, for obvious reasons, it was where I thrived. I stood out, as you can see. I'm bald-headed guy, 6'1", lighter skin, and but for some reason, the training they provide that helps a lot, and just to hide in plain sight and continue doing your work, whatever it is that you got to do. Whether the initial part of my career, I was an infantry soldier, but I played softball for the military for many years, and I didn't do much infantry type work, and that's when I saw.
All right, we got a little delay going on here. There he is. He's back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're okay.
So my transition from out of the military into corporate America was going to be easy, but then of course I found the military intelligence and the need and the purpose, so I stood by. But yeah, Latin America was my playing ground for many years. And I did my first 4 deployments was with Special Forces into Latin America.
Was that with seventh group? Was that with 7th Group? Out of Fort Bragg?
Out of Fort Bragg. They were in Fort Bragg at the time. They hadn't moved. They hadn't made the transition over. So they're in the late 90s.
Yeah, I think they moved over. Oh, they were at Bragg. Now they moved to, what is it, Benning? Now they're at Fort Benning?
No, they're at in the Panhandle, the Florida Panhandle, up in Fort. It's an Air Force base. I forget the name of the Air
Elgin?
Force base.
Is it Elgin?
In Elgin. No, it's a smaller Air Force base right outside Elgin Air Force Base.
Okay. All right. So, but you did work with them. So, a lot of training with Special Operations Command, right, and that kind of stuff. Fascinating stuff. And what units when you were overseas? Can you kind of tell me at all what units you were with when you were? I think maybe what was that? Germany and Europe, or were you in Italy, or kind of where did you go in there?
Okay, after when I came back into the military, because I left it for just a short period of time. When I came back into it, I came back as in military intelligence, and I was in the reserves, the Florida National Guard, actually, to be more specific, the 260th MI here in Miami, Florida.
Oh, wow!
And with them, that's my short stint with the 7th Group. Thanks to them, I was able to go to a long course that we call in intelligence. It's a longer course, 6-month course, where we hone our skills and gain even more advanced training to do offensive operations. After that, through the reserves, then I just made a transition into civilian work. So I continued to be a reserve soldier, but a transition into civilian work with the government to do military offensive operations or source operations, what we call it. And with that, I continue to stay with just reserve units, 321st MI, where I was a sergeant major. I was 260th before that as a first sergeant. I deployed with them. As a civilian, I was with an organization. I'm not sure if I can say it, but it was the Army's Human Intelligence organization through a program called MICIP, Military Intelligence Civilian Accepted Program, where with them I was able to deploy several different places in several different theaters. Intelligence for a lot of organizations.
It's okay. I'm not asking you to break any rules, but we sure do.
One thing we do know about is OPSEC, right? OPSEC, Operational Security. Hey, we get it and we respect it. Anytime we say something that you can't answer, hey, just say OPSEC. We'll get it.
No, it's fascinating to know that you've been in so many different places and not only trained well, but with our people and and getting out there and reaching out. So here we are. We're going to talk about it. We're going to ask you. We feel like that you have the pulse on the ground. I know Central America is your primary, but I'm going to go ahead and say your secondary is going to be that Middle East area. And right now, what we see and what we hear in the news, we see that the Taliban is on the rise, and it is pushing back the security forces of Afghanistan that we've been in there in training, that we've held for so long. And as we remove ourselves, what is it you see? I see a little bit of the fall of Saigon of 1975, but what is it you see, and what is it you think?
No, it's happening. Everything, I think, all of us intel professionals, pretty much know or figured out what would happen if and when we pulled out, because it was going to come to that at one point, and it's happening right now, immediately. And I'll talk about that in other places in the world where that would happen if we were to pull out. But in Afghanistan, unfortunately, it's sad because at one point, we were there. We went there for a mission. We did our mission. We conducted our mission, and we did it. And we got the guy. And then now we feel like we need to give Afghanistan back their country, or let them continue doing their things based on what we have provided them, how the training that we have provided, the equipment that we have provided for so many years, and we feel like they're at a position where they can do on their own, they can thrive on their own. And unfortunately, because the Taliban is so strong and well armed, and they have a sense of purpose as well. They have a pinpoint target, and they go after it, and it's working for them. Who's helping them with their weapons and the financing and all that stuff? Your guess is as good as mine. But if you can see, other countries are also coming in and trying to do their thing. Say, hey, we can do it better than the United States. China, obviously, they're looking to do what we did for so many years, and probably, according to them, do it better. Which is it's unfortunate that we have to come to that, but that's what's happening. And Afghanistan, in the very, very near future, if it continues in this route, if somebody doesn't do something about it, like real something, then the entire country is going to be taken over by bad people, and that's going to be very unfortunate.
Do you see historically, and I'm just going to ask real quick, do you see historically, we all know what Afghanistan was like for the Russians during the 80s, and then we have had our fill of Afghanistan. Do you see that, like what you're talking about, somebody like China coming in and having their moment in Afghanistan to fulfill that void that's creating in that environment? Do you think that's truly going to happen, that another large superpower is going to come in there and try to fill that gap for them and implement their system of government into that region?
That is exactly right, and that's exactly what's happening right now. The Afghans, unfortunately, or the Afghan government, unfortunately, is welcoming them with the open arms. You can always critique it. The critiquing, or the critics are abundant. You can critique. It's easier to critique than to say, okay, well, they've done some good things. So right now, it's all negative things about what the United States have done, and how we overstayed their welcome. I mean, these are things that you hear, right, and you see from different sources, particularly the government, because they have to do and say what they have to do and say so that their people can feel confident about their leadership. But I think it's wrong. I think they have to come clean. They have to be able to provide good feedback as well, and the things that we have done well, and how their future is not going to be as bright if they allow China or other countries to come in there and do their just what they're doing all over the world, really, which is not good.
I agree with you, and it's playing out not only in Afghanistan, but it's playing out for me. I see it playing out in the South China Sea. I'm seeing it playing out all across, and it was really weird seeing in the news just the other day the Russians and the Chinese in a dual operation war games that they had done with each other. You know, it's kind of weird that new ideology, because they have been at odds and been pointed at each other for years, the Chinese and the Russians, with divisions upon divisions facing off on one another on their border. And it's weird to see that they're kind of coming together in some kind of agreement between governments, which is kind of an unsettling deal for us in the United States. I just want to ask you one more question. Your role in Central America and our role in the United States in playing this training and not playing, but utilizing this training, how important do you see that as stabilizing that region with the criminal and Colombia's success? But how do you see you helping other governments in that region to stabilize that area?
I think we have a very good standing with certain a lot of the countries in Latin America, particularly some of the individuals who are at executive positions within the military or even the government. And we have the backing of great corporations here in the States who have done excellent work in the special operations or even intelligence realm for so many years that we have a great group of guys, individuals, companies that can help us with helping or help us help the different countries to thrive security-wise. The national security is our expertise. That's a big, broad term, of course, but it has anything to do with securing the nation, and that's what we like to do. That's what we want to focus on, laser point to those different elements, and then help them with that, because I feel like that's what's required. The biggest problem, unfortunately, in Latin America is a corruption. It's hard to break through that corruption, but there's a lot of people that want to do right, that want to do good for not only their country, but for themselves, for their family, for whatever it is that makes them thrive, that makes them feel successful. And that's where we want to focus on is to talk to those individuals who are decision makers and that want to do that.
All right. Hey, Jorge, we're going to cut this off. It's getting to that time. But first, I want to tell you, hey, thank you for sharing this information with us. We look forward to having you on our monthly segment. Jorge, if somebody needed to get a hold of you, if they had a question for you, one of our customers, a client, anybody, hey, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Sure. My email address is jbonilla at thedualityalliance.com. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I normally check I have my emails all the time and with me everywhere I go, no matter where I am in the world. And I hope that people reach out and that I can help.
Yeah, probably not a lot of security guys going to give out their cell phone numbers, right? Hey, we'll use that email address. We'll also publish that for so they can get a hold of you. Hey, also, the next segment we do, we're going to bring in one of our customers, somebody that also does business in that Latin America, because we want you to talk to them and to get their perspective on how you can benefit them, this country, other ways that you can also show your value to outside of just the military, right? Because in our industry, there's a lot to do, and we're not the most secure people either.
Yeah, and I truly believe what you have and the value that you have in sharing something so simple as personal security, even when you're out there just traveling and being in foreign countries. I think that's a great value, and I think we're going to add to that, and I think we're going to share that and show that. And man,
I won't lie. Sometimes we need it here. Walking down the hallway. I would love to have a security guy with me every once in a while, so I don't get bumped up against the wall.
But before you do go, I just want to say thank you so much, not only for your service to what you do for the country, but what you continue to do, even in the civilian world, and what you continue to add and contribute. Our partnership with the foreign countries, man, fantastic and great job. And I do want to say thank you so much for what it is.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. That was Sergeant Major, President Jorge Bonilla, right here on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hey, stay tuned for a little bit more. Thank you for staying with us. If you have questions, email us at bcblive@bcbtransport.com. Hey, we can always field those questions. You know, during the show, if you have questions, you can always email and put them on the chat line. Many ways to ask questions. Raise your hand where we can call on you. Man, what a great segment today, though, Drive Safe.
Yeah, you know, I could sit here for hours and ask all
I know.
these
This is right up your alley right here.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm so interested in getting in the know. I want to have that moment where I'm up in the conversation. And you know what? If I can lean on the Sergeant Major's intelligence to make me look a little bit more intelligent,
Yeah, you did get him feeling uncomfortable at one moment when he couldn't answer that question, right? He was like this, and he went all the way around, and he was like, I don't think I can tell you what I did.
I can't tell you exactly who I was working for, but no, that's interesting stuff. And I think what we have, you know, as we continue to talk to him and we continue to get better questions and more focused questions in certain areas, I think it's going to be a genuine value, not only to us here at BCB, but to everybody in BCB Live territory that can get that kind of necessary information out there for anybody in the industry.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, sometimes we don't know the answer, and we've got to go to a source that we trust.
Absolutely.
You know, part of the benefit of BCB Live is introducing to you folks like Jorge Bonilla, you know, the president of the Duality Alliance company, because they know. I mean, let's let them do the work because that's what they're the experts of. Go to them. Thank you all for being part of BCB Live. Hey, thank you for being part of this show today. Hey, stay tuned for more BCB Live.